Hi, welcome to the third edition of Simulation Talks. My name is Michelle Bouchet and I'm a research analyst at TechClarity. At TechClarity, we're an independent research firm and we focus on how to make the business value of technology clear. My background is in engineering and I focus my research on product development best practices and helping you as engineers make better use of processes and technology to help you become even better engineers. So just as a quick review of episodes 1 and 2, those discussions focused a lot on the value of simulation. And the discussions were around how engineers can use simulation to kind of explore design ideas and test out new solutions and play around with their designs and perhaps even find problems earlier on in the design process. At the end of the second episode, there's a really interesting question. One of the audience members asked, how do you verify results? And we're going to dig a little bit into that question in this episode. In this episode, I'm going to talk about collaborative simulation. And that could be a key way to help you improve confidence in your results. And that's going to help you be even more confident in your design decisions and end up with a better design overall. The research I'm going to share with you comes from a TechClarity ebook that's titled How to Survive and Win New Markets by Getting Even More Value from Simulation. And this was based on a survey of nearly 300 companies. And one of the really interesting findings was that top performing companies are 28% more likely to empower their design engineers with simulation. But one of the key questions is, how do you help design engineers adopt it? So I'm going to share 3 trends from my research that reveals methods for making it easier to adopt simulation during design. The first trend I want to talk about is collaboration. So as that previous question implied, a lot of engineers are really hesitant to try simulation because they're concerned that maybe they don't have the knowledge or the background to be able to properly take advantage of it. But what's interesting is that we found 83% of top performers found that they reported that if their design engineers could collaborate more easily with a simulation expert or an analyst, they'd be able to get even more value from simulation. And collaborating with an analyst can be very, very helpful because that analyst can provide you expert advice. They can provide guidance to make sure you're setting up the simulation properly. And that way you can trust your results and you can make sure you're getting the design guidance that you need from those results. So that means collaboration is pretty key. But what are the best ways to support collaboration? It's very tricky to collaborate well. And really you want to make sure that it is as easy as possible and seamless and just a natural extension of your process. Otherwise it's probably not going to happen. So it was interesting that overwhelmingly companies were in agreement that the best way to collaborate with an expert would be to simply send them a link to your model so you can collaborate in real time. People thought that was much better than waiting until the end of the design cycle and then engaging an analyst, or even just sending questions throughout the process and waiting for answers back. The benefit of a link is that you can get that advice in real time as you're exploring that idea. And then the analyst can take a look at your design and see that design in context and see exactly what it is you're trying to do. And that way they can provide you even better advice and really support you as you conduct that analysis. And a way to do that, a way to have that real-time collaboration with only a link, is to use a cloud platform. With a cloud platform, you can send a link to an analyst and they can start looking at your model in real time and they don't even have to worry about installing additional software. The other really nice thing about the cloud is that the infrastructure is already baked in. So you can collaborate with anyone, anytime, anywhere. And it really doesn't matter if they're in a different building, in a different country, or even at home. And so what that does is it just opens up the possibilities of who you can collaborate with. And then you can tap into different sources of expertise. Like you might be able to engage a third-party design firm who's providing simulation expert services. Or maybe you want to engage a semi-retired analyst who's offering consulting services. Lots of possibilities. But normally the challenge when you engage a third party is that you have to share your models, and you have to, usually that's done through email. And when you start emailing models, you lose access to your design data. You don't know where that email is going. You don't know who has access to your design data. You don't know if it's being shared and who with. And that can potentially put your IP at risk. But one of the benefits of the cloud is that you now have control. When you share a link, you are giving one person access to your model. And then when you're finished collaborating, you can turn that access off. So that way, no one actually has access to your design data. They are on the platform with you, and then that access is turned off. So there's a lot of benefit to that. The second trend I want to talk about is getting results faster. And this is another benefit of the cloud. With the cloud platform, you have access to cloud computing. And cloud computing can really accelerate the processing time of an analysis. Our research took a look at how long engineers spend waiting for results. And we compared those using a desktop to those using the cloud. And we found that those using the desktop have to wait twice as long as those who are using the cloud. So just from a productivity perspective, when you're using your desktop, all that processing is going to bog down the machine, and it can make it hard to continue working. And it's probably better to go get a coffee or go for lunch or something and wait until those results are done. With the cloud, you're offloading all of that processing up to the cloud, and there's minimal, if any, impact on your local machine. So you can just continue working as normal, and then when you get your results back, continue on and use that, and maybe take a look at another option. So that in itself, like I said, is a huge productivity benefit. But then there's other benefits too. In our research, we asked companies, if you could get your results back faster, how would that help you? And overwhelmingly, everybody said that if I can get the results back faster, I can get my work done faster. And so that's really helpful in just making sure you're meeting deadlines, everybody's under time pressures. So that's a big one. It can help your company meet time to market goals more easily, so that's very useful. But on top of that, top performers were actually more likely to say they would use that time in other ways too. They said with that extra time, it would allow them to take even more advantage of simulation, because they would simulate more iterations. They would look at more options for innovation. And so that's allowing them to explore more ideas, experiment more, get all that value from simulation without any extra time. So that's giving top performers a big advantage, because their engineers are able to be better engineers, and they have more innovative products and more optimized designs because of it. And then the third trend I want to talk about is growing complexity. And I'm sure it is no surprise to you that our research continuously shows that products are getting more and more complex. I'm sure like other engineers, you're probably finding you're needing to work with a lot more materials. Things like more plastics and composites, new metals, all sorts of new materials. And then on top of that, you're probably dealing with more electronics, more components, more subsystems, more systems of systems. It all gets so complicated. And then as you're taking a look at how those components interact, and then what the impact of this material is on the design, it just means that there's that much more physics involved, and it's making it more complicated to make the right decision. when you have to consider all these different variables, and you're probably having to think about things like cooling and vibration and heat transfer and the impact of electrical currents. It's a lot to consider on your own without any type of guidance. And that's where the cloud, another way the cloud can help, because the cloud can offer flexible licensing. So you can access different physics based on